Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into this week's edition of my top waiver wire ads and streamable defenses. We're in week 10 of the NFL season, so that means we are officially crossed the halfway point. Over these next few weeks, you're going to be looking to solidify your playoff spot. I got leagues, I just got to get some wins in. And I got some leagues, I got to stack some wins and try to climb my way back into the playoff picture. So hopefully I can help myself out, but most importantly, you. So as always, I'm going to start with the waiver wire section. I probably got repeat visitors, but just in case we do have a first time listener, what you're going to get out of this section, I'm going to give you my top quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and flex ad of the week. Now, the players I'm about to talk about, they have to have at least 50% roster availability on Yahoo League. So that way, odds say that if you go to your waiver wire market right now, these names are going to be out there for you to choose from. So let's start with the quarterback. As I always do, Marcus Mariota. He's available in 67% of the leagues. Now, as you guys know, most of that have been listening to this episode throughout the season, I've kind of just been giving you quarterbacks to stream all year. Now, last week I did say Justin Fields in my mind was a guy to stream and maybe play going forward. Now, Marcus Mariota, I think he's just a 1 week option for you if you have a quarterback that's on a bye. Josh Allen has this scary elbow thing going on with his, I think it's the UCL. So that maybe you might be worried that he might have to miss this week. So if you are looking for an option, I would look towards Marcus Mariota. Now, he didn't do anything this past game. This is basically based on what he did to the Panthers 2 weeks ago. Now, traditionally for this whole season, the Panthers are only giving up 16.2 points per game to quarterbacks. That's the 14th most allowed, so it's like right there in the middle of the pack across the NFL. But when you look at when Carolina and Atlanta faced off in that huge shootout a couple weeks ago, Marcus Mariota had 253 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but interceptions really don't matter much in fantasy. And then he had, of course, his rushing floor where he got 6 rushes for 43 yards. So based on what happened in that last matchup with the Panthers, and if you are looking for a quarterback to stream, I think Marcus Mariota is probably your best option. That would probably be out there on your market. Going into my next running back ad of the week, I'm going with the rookie running back from Tampa, Rachaad White. He is available in 66% of the leagues. Now, he's been more of in a reserve role while Leonard Fournette has been the lead back in Tampa. But over the last month and a half, he's getting more and more reps on the field, and he's starting to earn more touches. Now, this past week, the numbers don't blow you out, right? He only had 8 rushes for 27 yards. He had the 3 receptions I typed out, 3 receptions for 7 yards. I see where I happen to have that typo on my script. But yeah, on 3 targets. Now, one thing that stood out to me when I look at what has happened for him over the last month is this past game was his first game where he finished with at least 10 touches. So that means he's getting, the offensive coordinator, Brian Leftwich, is starting to look for more ways to get him the ball. And then if he starts to show he's more explosive and offers more than Leonard Fournette, maybe we start to see him carve out a larger role as the season progresses. Now, I will say this too: if you are a manager of Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White is out there, I would definitely go grab Rachaad White so you have the option of either Tampa back. Now, when you look at this week, he might be a sneaky flex option for you in redraft and dynasty leagues if you are dealing with running backs that are on a bye. Seattle is allowing 19.6 point per game to the running back position. That is the 8th most in the NFL. Now, to give you my honest opinion, I think it's Leonard Fournette's backfield for now. But if he gets another 10 plus touches and that starts to increase, you're talking about a guy that can end up being maybe an RB2 by the time the playoffs would roll around. But that's me thinking he either takes over Leonard Fournette or maybe something happens where Fournette gets hurt over the next month. But either way, he's a top handcuff right now that is seeing his role increase as the season's gone along. My wide receiver ad, I'm going to go with DeAndre Carter. He's available in 69% of the leagues. Now, this is, of course, this guy, he's not going to be a long-term option for you, but this is just because Mike Williams for the Chargers is currently on IR. We have no clue. It's a guessing game whenever we will see Keenan Allen again. And I think DeAndre Carter is worth an ad and worth a stream if you're looking for some help at the wide receiver spot. I just did this in one of my leagues the past week. I was out like multiple wide receivers on buys. I had to find something, and I saw him sitting on the waiver wire Sunday morning, and I was like, well, if Williams and Keenan are out, I'll take a shot on DeAndre Carter. And it paid off for me this past week. He had 5 receptions for 53 yards on 6 targets. Now, when you look at the last 3 games, obviously with Mike Williams getting banged up and Keenan Allen not playing, he's gotten over 5 targets in the last 3 games. Now, this Sunday, the Chargers are facing the 49ers. The 49ers are allowing 22.1 points per game to the wide receiver position. That's the 11th most in the NFL, so that's a good matchup for him. So if you're looking for wide receiver help, maybe you're a manager of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and you want maybe kind of a handcuff. You missed out on Joshua Palmer last week. I think DeAndre Carter is a nice little secondary prize for you, and I think he would be a nice supplement if at the wide receiver position as we still go through buys, and of course injuries could happen over this next month. My tight end ad of the week, I'm going with another Buccaneers rookie player that is starting to get more of a play within that offense. Cade Otton is available in 89% of the leagues. Now, with Cameron Brate dealing with his concussion, it seems like Cade Otton has actually kind of taken over the role as that lead tight end in the offense. And when this past weekend, he had the 5 receptions for 68 yards on 6 targets. Now, you guys know I like to look for the 7 to 9 target range as a trusty option, but he's at least gotten 5+ targets over the last 3 games. And if you're looking for a tight end to stream, he's got the best matchup of the week. They're going against the Seahawks, who are allowing 14.4 points per game to tight ends. That's the most allowed in the NFL. So he's earning Tom Brady's trust. He caught that game-winning touchdown for the Buccaneers this past week, and he's got a great matchup. So if you're looking to stream a tight end, I think he's a great option. And then if he continues to see the targets that he's been seeing, he might be a nice little high-end tight end too going forward. My flex ad of the week, I'm going to go with Terrace Marshall Jr. He's the Panthers' second-year wide receiver. He's available in 94% of the leagues. This is a guy I've always liked his talent since he came out. It just wasn't working, but ever since Matt Rule has left and they had got fired and they traded away Robbie Anderson, that has given a path to Marshall Jr. for him to expand his role in the offense, and he's starting to see that over the last 2 games for the Panthers. Now, this past Sunday, he had 3 receptions for 53 yards on 6 targets. Now, over the last 2 games, he's received 15 total targets. Now, this weekend, or not this weekend, actually, this Thursday night, they are going against the Atlanta Falcons. Like I said about Mariota, the Panthers and Falcons played in that shootout a couple weeks ago. So we got to see what he did against them. And in that matchup, he had 4 receptions for 87 yards on 9 targets in that last matchup. And then the Falcons, they are allowing 29.5 points per game against wide receivers. That's the second most in the NFL. That's where, literally last week, Joshua Palmer and DeAndre Carter were those leading wide receivers. So DJ Moore and probably Terrace Marshall Jr. are going to be the leading wide receivers once again for Carolina in this matchup. So if you're looking for some wide receiver help, not only I think Marshall Jr. is a good play this week, but with him being a young guy and them trying to evaluate for next year, he's a guy that's probably going to have at least a decent role in this offense going forward. So again, my quarterback ad of the week is Marcus Mariota. My running back ad of the week is Rachaad White. My wide receiver ad of the week is DeAndre Carter. My tight end ad of the week is Cade Otton. And then my flex ad of the week is Terrace Marshall Jr. Moving into the streamable defenses, like I always like to reiterate, these are defenses that have to have at least 50% roster availability. So I am giving you guys some defenses that should be out there on the market. Starting with my number 1 streamable defense, I'm definitely going to go with those Raiders against the Colts. As we all know, my favorite team's kind of a dumpster fire right now. They just fired their head coach. They hired Jeff Saturday, which I'm not hating on that move as much as most people are. But they still are. They just promoted some guy to an offensive coordinator that's never played calls. This offense has been a mess. That offensive line is a mess. So this sets up where guys like Max Crosby and Chandler Jones could go off and get a bunch of sacks, and that can potentially lead towards those turnovers. So that's why I think the Raiders defense is definitely my top streamable defense of the week. My number 2, I'm going with the Giants against the Texans. The New York defense is available in 90% of the leagues. This is strictly because, I mean, the Giants, they're frisky on defense. You know, they got Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams up front. They got like a Dory Jackson, Julian Love. They did have Xavier McKinney, but he's out for some time with his hand injury. But they got some guys in the back end that can get those turnovers. And then when you look at the Texans offense, outside of Dameon Pierce, what's there to scare you? We don't know what's going on with the Brandon Cook situation. I don't know what happened last week. He was listed with the wrist injury, but some people think it's because he was on the trade block. And, you know, that led to him not playing on Thursday, so he's going to be back in the lineup. But even if he is, Davis Mills hasn't shown, to me, in my opinion, that he's like a guy that you should be scared to stream a defense against. So I could see the sacks happening again in this game, as well as the turnovers. So that's why I think the Giants would be a good play if you're looking for streamable defense this week. My number 3, I'm going with the Denver Broncos against the Titans. Now, the Broncos are available in 54% of the leagues. This is kind of just because I don't know if the Titans offense really scares people outside of Derrick Henry. Listen, I know they're a tough physical team. I know they've been winning games. They took it to KC the other night. But at the end of the day, in that game, they had the first game ever, or the first game in forever, where a wide receiver didn't catch the ball. We don't know when Ryan Tannehill is going to be back. Will he be back this week, or will it be Malik Willis, where we got a rookie quarterback that isn't the best at throwing the football right now across the middle of the field, where you can create those type of turnovers? And give respect to the Broncos defense. I know that Denver season hasn't gone as good as it should have, but they still have a legit defense that can create turnovers. I think Baron Browning should be in playing, the good edge rusher for them. I remember he got banged up a couple weeks ago, but they still got like Patrick Surtain up front, Draymond Jones in the middle of that defense, where I could see them giving the Titans fits. And if they can at least bottle up Derrick Henry and dare them to pass on them, that's where I think you can get those sacks and turnovers. My number 4 streamable defense, I did this literally 2 weeks ago, the streamable defenses, where I listed both these teams in that same matchup. But first, let's start with Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is available in 93% of the leagues. They're going against that Panthers team. And yeah, like there was a shootout last time, but I end up like in one of my leagues, I was desperate. And normally I say like, if it's going to be the Falcons or this Panthers defense I'm talking about right now, it's probably going to be like a 14 team league, and I happen to be in those leagues, and I had to play the Falcons. I did roll the dice last time, and even though they gave up all those points, I can't remember if it was a pick 6 or a fumble return touchdown, but at the end of the day, that defense got me some touchdowns, it got me some sacks, and my point total was just fine, despite the Panthers putting up the points. So for that reason, yeah, I'm always willing to take roll the dice on a Panthers team that's fired their head coach and is going nowhere this season. And then flip it over to the other side. The Panthers are available in 96% of the leagues. They're going against that Falcons. Again, you know, like I said, I think Marcus Mariota is still a good play. But look at last time, Marcus Mariota threw 2 interceptions. All you need from the Panthers is to turn one of those interceptions into a touchdown for you. You know, the Falcons, the Falcons offensive line is not the greatest at pass protecting, and then you got the Panthers with Brian Burns up front that can create sacks and create havoc and help create those turnovers too. So whenever it's a battle of bad teams, I don't mind streaming their defenses. So again, my top streamable defenses heading into Week 10: Raiders against the Colts, Giants against the Texans, Broncos against the Titans, Falcons against the Panthers, and the Panthers against the Falcons. So yeah, that is this week's video. If you guys have any other questions on any other names or defenses, as far as heading into this week, and you want to hear my opinion on it, please feel free to get in my comment section. I'll always return any questions that you guys may have. You can slide into a DM on one of my social medias. You can follow me at Cody Talks NFL, and then you can always shoot me a text if you got my number, and I'll always get back with an answer for you. As always, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed to my channel, so you can keep up with all my latest content. And then other than that, you guys will see me again on Thursday morning when I give you guys my top starts and sits for the week. I'll talk to you then. You guys enjoy your night or day or afternoon or morning, whenever you guys are watching this. I'll see you later. Peace out.